shock. So it came in quick succession there, the first aftershock. And so it's been a healthy aftershock sequence, although it's already dying down. The last few earthquakes are really small. Now they're getting down to magnitude 2s and lower than magnitude 2 to the point where most people probably not even feeling it. Let's see, there was a question about the My Shake. He said a lot of people got the shake alert. A lot of people are getting the alerts for it. And can you explain why? The shake alert system specifically alerts when the magnitude is high enough. That's one factor, and the other is if is expected shaking is high enough. And so it's above a certain intensity, and it's above intensity 3. A while ago, that intensity level was actually higher, but then after the Ridgecrest earthquake, people complained that it was actually too high, and they wanted to get the alerts, and so it was lowered at that point. But now, so that's the current level where the shaking's at. But this magnitude 5.1 is enough to get above the threshold for the magnitude, and then if people are within a certain area where the intensity is correct, above that level of intensity, then they'll go ahead and get that alert also. So a large region actually felt that shaking, and so a large region got it was expected to feel the shaking, so they got the alert for that expected intensity.
I'll add an update too. Just as we said at the beginning, like every earthquake in Southern California, there's about a 5% chance that this earthquake can be followed by something larger. And in the same location. You don't see a foreshock isn't something that's over there and then set off an earthquake down in LA. It would be a further earthquake would be in the same location. And that's of course a 95% chance that it won't be followed by something larger. We are seeing, as Alan said, a substantial aftershock sequence with us, and we would expect that to continue. The number dies off very rapidly with time, but actually the relative number of large to small stays the same. So we're seeing now lots of small earthquakes. Having another 3, another 4 during the night would not be surprising at all. Almost certainly to have 3s, easily could have more 4s. I think that's the most important thing to get in here. We did say this does not appear to be associated with a fault in our database. Having it on not previously mapped fault is relatively common. Northridge is our most obvious example of that happening. So that in itself is not particularly concerning. And also which fault it's on doesn't determine anything about its ability to trigger other events. I see another question from Ron Lynn about if this magnitude quake had occurred in a highly populated part of Los Angeles, would you expect to see a lot more damage? Of course. We can look at what the intensities were as recorded on this earthquake. So that's all mapped up in the USGS earthquake website. You can see the maximum intensity right near the main shock is magnitude 6 to 7. And that's a level that throws plenty of stuff off of shelves, could be doing some damage. If you had an old brick building, it's very unlikely to really be damaging most of the structures that we have. But we see a lot of damage to interiors with lots of damaged products in stores, lots of dishes on the ground. Probably not opening the refrigerators. That usually takes intensity 7. But we have a pretty large area of intensity 6 in the region. If you put that into Hollywood, we would then seeing a lot more damage. Of course, the older buildings are more susceptible, not particularly because they've aged badly, but rather because the construction techniques that we used 80, 100 years ago did not include seismic resilience as any of the principles. That's all of our open questions at this point.
All right, Alan and Lucy, would you all like to take a short break, or would you like to go ahead and end this if we have no additional questions coming in?
I think that ending it is probably, we've been on for 45 minutes and hopefully people were able to get what they wanted.
Okay, that is Dr. Lucy Jones wrapping things up here. Clearly, she feels like she has conveyed all the information that we need to know. But let's recap what happened tonight at 9:09. A magnitude initially 5.3 magnitude earthquake struck south of Bakersfield and about 10 miles south of the city of Lamont. We have learned that has since been now downgraded to a 5.2 magnitude quake, although I guess at Caltech and Dr. Jones had not gotten that information as of now because they were still going on 5.3, but 5.2 magnitude earthquake. There is really heavy aftershock activity. There were two as large as a 4.5 and a 4.1. That 4.5 magnitude aftershock happened about 45 seconds after the main shock, the main earthquake that everyone here in Los Angeles felt it. In fact, Dr. Jones and Alan there talked about how people down in Los Angeles, in the LA basin, may have felt that 4.5 magnitude aftershock as well. So folks who said that this lasted for a minute or so were likely feeling the main quake and then that aftershock, which again, upwards of 20 or more aftershocks. And as Dr. Jones just said, if you heard her and if you did not, she said there's always, with every earthquake we feel here in Southern California, there's a 5% chance this was simply a foreshock, which just means if a larger earthquake hits in the exact same spot, that first 5.2 magnitude quake turned out to be a foreshock to the main event, which would be larger. But of course, as she also said, that means there's a 95% chance that this was it. Let's head up to Chris Christie in Air 7 as Los Angeles and the surrounding cities go into earthquake reaction mode. Chris, are you seeing anything from Air 7?
All's pretty quiet up here in the Santa Clarita Valley, Jory. You're looking live at one of the closest suburbs to that epicenter up in Kern County. As you make your way up the Grapevine, things get very dark. So we're staying in this area, just kind of keeping an eye on any calls that come in. Now, LA County Fire and LA City Fire, we have reached out to both of those agencies, and both of them say that they have not received any reports of damage, no structural damage at this point, no building collapses, nothing like that yet, but they are all in earthquake mode. That means all of the trucks are out of the garages, they have left the station, and they are conducting what usually takes up to an hour-long survey of their various districts across the city and across the county, inspecting all of the critical infrastructure, oil tanks, water tanks, interstate overpasses, all of those kinds of things, making sure there's no visual damage that needs to be attended to right away. So that initial shock, as you mentioned, happening about 45 minutes ago, and they should be wrapping up that initial survey here in the next few minutes. Again, as of now, no reports of any damage. Jory?
Yeah, good news there, Chris. I know this is felt from all over Marina Del Rey, Newhall, Palmdale, San Fernando, down in Long Beach. We've got calls to our newsroom from folks there. Let's go now to someone on the ground who felt it here in the Los Angeles area and may have experienced something similar to what you felt tonight. Let's listen.
Well, we were sitting at Denny's and we were just sitting there and I just felt everything shaking. And I said earthquake, and then it just kept going.
Did things move around?
No.
Nothing moved around.
Nothing moved around. It was just I felt the seat shaking.
What was your reaction after that? Like, what were your first thoughts?
Like, oh, just like earthquake. But it's just so natural, you know. We have them so much lately, so I don't really. It just happens.
You're still going about your day.
Yeah.
We are different here in Southern California. Earthquakes, for the most part, don't freak us out too much. This is a good barometer of how heavy an earthquake is. This is from Josh Haskell's home, our ABC7 Eyewitness News reporter. This is a light fixture hanging in his home. He has used this exact light before in previous earthquakes. Not too much movement, but just enough to know that something was going on out there. We are, of course, 90 miles from the epicenter of this 5.2 magnitude earthquake just south of Bakersfield, and it looks like right here you can see all of that seismic activity. These are all the aftershocks being felt up in Kern County, some of them making it a little lower further south than that, as we were hearing there in that press conference with Dr. Jones and a member of the California Seismology Department, that because Los Angeles is in a basin, it can amplify the reaction, what we feel here. And so even though we are so far away, separated by some mountains, that is why you may have felt that down here. That was from Alan Husker, the manager of the Southern California Seismic Network. We have a lot to get to tonight. We're going to cover it all coming up at 11 o'clock. Again, continue letting us know what you experienced here tonight. And of course, always a great time to make sure that you are prepared, because the next one could be the big one. Prepare SoCal. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. We have tips that you can find and get you ready for when a major earthquake hits Southern California. abc7.com/prepare SoCal. Again, we have reporters fanned out across our area, looking for reaction, looking for damage, seeing what happened, and talking to authorities about what might have gone wrong tonight and what might have gone right. And so, as we hit the 10 o'clock hour, we're going to sign off here on our stream. But again, a magnitude 5.2 now, earthquake hitting Southern California, south of Bakersfield. We can feel it here in the Los Angeles area. But again, we are going to do our due diligence here, our reporting here, and we'll have the very latest coming up at 11 o'clock here on ABC7, on our ABC7 Los Angeles app, and streaming as always on abc7.com. For now, have a great night, stay safe, and of course, let us know. Post to social media using the hashtag ABC7Eyewitness. If you have any photos, videos, anecdotes, stories, anything, we want to hear them. Send them to us. It helps us get a bigger picture of what happened tonight and what you out there experienced across Southern California. So let us know, and we will report back to you at 11 o'clock on ABC7. Have a great night. See you in an hour.
I called her, let her know she had to get home as soon as possible.
We have some great memories in this.